Was caught up in active addiction for over 35 years. Started using heroin at the age of 15. It was part of my social environment. Was caught up in loads of criminal activity as a result of that. And as a result of that, I was out in services for years and failed miserably at every attempt to try and change my lifestyle. And it wasn't until I got a final opportunity, I got last rites through liver failure, through alcoholism. I could have probably done my Alcoholics Anonymous at the age of 15, but the focus was put on other substances that I was in treatment and care for. But I got the last rites with liver failure. I got the opportunity to go to a 12-step treatment centre because I had nowhere else to go. I had no family in my life, I had no mother, no father. I was doing a comedy for every hostel in Glasgow at that point, and I went in there for 6 months and my recovery journey began.
It just so happened that it was me that day that had been accused. Sort of a one day that can change your life as such that that one day, then the next is never the same. Sort of following from all of that you get the sleepless nights, sort of the everlasting thoughts of walking past people and just having those negative thoughts and those sort of the understanding that everyone already has got that conviction against you, that they're holding you to it. Sort of that everyone's in the know and that you're the black sheep as such that always daunts over you. So it never goes away, that it's everlasting. I guess with time it has slowly calmed down and sort of my own thoughts have rested.
I hurt my back and I went to the hospital, and before I knew it I was prescribed a big list of strong painkillers, and within about a month I was addicted to them. I knew I was addicted to them because I'd seen it happen so many times, but I couldn't get up in the morning without using them. So I had to manipulate the system, and I manipulated the doctors to get them to give me different drugs. And then I was spending £500 a month on buying other people's prescriptions. Then my relationship broke down. My partner left with my son. I'm glad because he was safe. But at the time I didn't care because I was so wrapped up in addiction. That was the only thing that was on my mind when I was getting my next fix for. I ended up getting into trouble with the law. I spent nights in cells, which had never ever happened before. I told myself I would never ever do it again, but I did. Eventually I got into recovery, and now I'm on a prescription, but I use my medication properly.
I came from Postal Park. I lived in childhood. I kind of started experimenting with drugs at the age of 10, 11. Didn't go to school. Kind of ended up in a care system. Came out of there and it was kind of experimenting with drugs. It led me to prison. End up kind of about 20 years later, I end up catching cancer. and I kinda get all clear for cancer, and I kinda said to myself, want a new way of life. I had a bit of desire, I wanted to have drugs, I surrendered.
Every day I would say was survival, whether it be surviving the upbringing that I had, you know, with the alcohol, or being outside and try to avoid this certain person who I was getting bullied with and stuff like that. Because I mean, I don't know if I can say this or no, but I had it planned in my head that at the age of 8, 7, 8, 9, as I say, I can't 100% pin that age, but I had it planned that I wanted to kill him. And I thought, I can kill him here and get away with this, because I knew his routine and everything. And I also remember there was a big knife in the kitchen, and I could use that knife. You know, that was weird, isn't it? And it was like, I could use that, all my troubles will be gone. And I remember I used to think that quite a lot. And I planned it where I would, because his house was never locked. And I thought, right, I could get in there, and I could just, when he's in his bed, I could just put this right in his chest or his stomach, and he's gone, he's dead. And same again, that was survival for me, because I wanted rid of that. I didn't want that in my life anymore. Because as much as I was getting a hassle for him, I was also getting a hassle for mum and dad that you're lying to me. This person's no bullying you. You just don't want to go to school, or you don't. And as I say, this day and age, you know, you get so much now where people can help you. But that was a daily occurrence.
Getting to know them, getting involved in the things I got involved, or the things I've seen, like going to the fields and fighting with the scheme, and learning about rival gang and wanting to stab each other. That also would have given me some type of strength in terms of not having to fear someone, because it's a Scottish thing. That means now that you're in Torrington, we've kicked you about a little bit. Now you're going to become a lot more tougher when you go out there. Because by leaving Torrington, I straight away went to step into another field, which is the city centre. And then in the city centre was more of a battlefield now, because it was bigger. You wouldn't just meet one team, you will meet different type of things. And although I didn't get myself incarcerated for all the things we got involved in, but one thing I learned is first how to prevent certain fights from coming. I find myself that if I was not in charge of a situation, then it overlaps. But I find myself more stopping fights and preventing people from getting involved into something or directing them into something else. If that day 10 people would have got arrested, then I would have took 2 or 3 home or something like that.
My house was illegally searched, looking for Princess Diana's mum's jewels. Shan Kidd in 2002. 20 odd cops came in here and they started pulling the place to bits. They burst a pipe and flooded my ceiling. And I've been through 20 years of a nightmare trying to get this big mistake with the police sorted out. I've got thousands and thousands of letters I've wrote to the Supreme Courts, the Crown Office, the European Courts, the Ombudsman, 3 Prime Minister, 3 Third Ministers, Jack McConnell, Alex Salmond and Nicola Sturgeon. It's all been covered up. And all I've been on is a letter writing trail, writing to all these different government agencies. And I've actually done nothing wrong right from the start of this. And they left my house unlivable. And what happened is my lassie was coming to the gate, and she was throwing herself in front of cars, threatening to kill herself. And she done herself in last year with a drugs overdose.
I've experienced a horrific event in my life. And at that point I was just drinking and just doing what every young person does. And And after experiencing the loss of my brother, I couldn't handle my feelings and emotions. And then I was introduced to drugs, which led me into using them on a daily basis. And to fund that, I was then committing crimes to keep me well, so that I could still function and believe in my mind that I was still alright and I wasn't that bad, to the point I couldn't do it anymore. 20 odd years in active addiction, being known to the police, being known to the authorities, it was just a horrible cycle.
On the 16th of May 1997, I was sitting in the front seat of a four-wheel drive Isuzu Trooper when the guy sitting behind me stuck a gun in my back and pulled the trigger. The gun jammed. I was 27-year-old at that point and I had just come through 14 years of addiction, but how did I get there? Well, at the age of 11, I won a scholarship to go to a fee-paying school, and I remember the euphoria in my family that first year, all the happy snaps and everything else of that first day there. But only a year later, at the start of second year, when my English teacher told me I needed a copy of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, for only days later, knowing that I never had it and the family never had it, I freaked out. But what that did was it began the process of me just not turning up for English on Fridays. And before I knew it, I found myself going to the only people that I found non-judgmentalism, and that was with the guys in the scheme where I grew up. But this quite rapidly led to addiction and alcoholism and street gangs, which finally led to me going to prison at the age of 19 for being concerned with the intent to supply drugs.
Rejection and always just want to be accepted and be part of something. So I was a football hooligan, I was a gang fighter, I got involved with other stuff, and it was all just about being accepted. And it was because I just wanted to be liked. I just wanted to be part of something. I was rejected, my mother died, my dad rejected me, the system rejected me. 16 I tried to join the fire service, I got refused because of convictions. 17 I tried to join the army, get rejected because of convictions. So by the ages of 17 I don't even realise it. The whole world has rejected me and let me down, and I'm not playing a victim about that. But nobody ever sort of sat me down and said, listen, you don't need to go down this path. But whether I would have been doing that path or no, it doesn't matter. I'm a great believer that everything that happened in my life had to happen for me to be the person that I'm at today. I will now manage my own project, an alcohol project in GAP up in Easterhouse. I work with all the recovery cafes, I work in the community. My life is spent trying to help other people.
Looking back through my life, the story I tell had many changes that took place within me. That love I had faded into the background and was replaced with a trauma of growing up where violence was present. What followed was a new persona, one part protected to have no fear, to be brave and strong to face any and all bullies. Burying all my pain and fear deep, deep down allowed anger to consume me and be present at all times. There was no hope or escape from the tough, broken city of Glasgow when I was an angry kid and when I became an adult. Alcohol and drugs offered an escape with a joy and happiness, but that ends and the darkness ascends. Some do manage to escape these cycles, others sadly don't. The broken bones and scars I still carry around with me of these times to see the same stress still covered in the strength of trauma brings back the sadness of it all. As generations of children become broken and lost with little hope, all people want is to feel safe and loved, listened to and given a chance at life. The streets have less gang violence, but suicide, addiction and criminality have all risen. It's time we lead the way for change.